Good afternoon. This is Gokul Gangadharan. Today I am here with my second assignment. This is a case study on ethical issues faced by Auto Part Corporation. So moving on to the first slide. Today we'll be talking about the ethical and legal issues faced by the Auto Part Corporation, alternative course of action for David, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and underlying business and organizational causes of these ethical issues, preventative business and organizational measures, and bibliography. So moving on to the first topic, which is the ethical and legal issues. Today, I'll be talking about the three legal issues and six ethical issues faced by the APC. So, starting with the legal issues, the first legal issue is inadequate safety training. So, employees receive only 50 to 20 minutes of training by the supervisors. Also, they'll train them only on how to run few parts of the machinery. They doesn't train them completely on how to run the machinery, and it doesn't comply with the WSIB recommendations of training every employee for up to 8 hours up to 2 weeks for metalworking industries based on their equipment and their duties. So the type of violation here is non-compliance with regulatory laws, and it violates the Ontario Occupational Health and Safety Act, OSHA. So um, in OSHA, it says that employer's responsibility includes providing information about the hazards in your workplace, proper safety equipment training, and competent supervision. It also says that the employers must inform the workers about the job hazards and train them to do their job safely. So this is what is mentioned in the OSHA, and here APC clearly violates this regulatory law by OSHA. So moving on to the next slide. So the second legal issue is the hazardous working conditions. Uh, so there are a lot of safety violations that was documented by WSIB during their audit, and there were inadequate guarding for machines. All the moving machines were not adequately guarded, increasing the chance of mm, mishaps and injuries. And also there was no adequate fall protection, and there was lack of PPE, and there was no enforcement of proper hearing aid protection or even proper PPEs as well. So it violates the occupational health and safety laws of Ontario, and violates workers' safety insurance board WSIB regulations and OSHA as well. So in OSHA, it's clearly stated that the supervisors are responsible uh, for, and they must ensure that a worker works in manner and with the protective devices, measures, and procedures. This is mentioned in the clause 27.1 of OSHA, and the clause 27.1b of OSHA states that the supervisor must ensure that any equipment, protective device, or clothing required by the employer is used or worn by the worker as well. So it states that the supervisor must ensure that there is safety, and also make sure that people are following all the safety procedures as well. So this is a second legal violation. Now moving on to the third legal violation. The third legal issue is the discriminatory hiring practices. So the contract with just-in-time labor excludes the workers born in Quebec and required the workers to be born in Canada. So this is an discrimination towards a particular class of particular type of people. So the JIT contract excluded workers who were born in Quebec, as well as they excluded non-Canadian citizens as well. So this is a clear violation of human rights, and it violates the right to equal treatment with respect to employment of Human Rights Code RSO 1990, stated by the Ontario Human Rights Commission, OHRC. So this code states that the employment five part in the part one, which is the freedom from discrimination of the Human Rights Code, states that every person has a right to equal treatment with respect to employment without discrimination because of race, ancestry, place of origin, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender, etc. So this practice clearly violates this right to equal treatment with respect to employment, as stated by OHRC. So this is the third violation. Now moving on to the ethical issues. The first ethical issue is the exploitation of temporary workers. So here is the temporary work for the people. The temporary workers are paid a minimum wage without any kind of benefits, unlike the union workers the union workers were having all the benefits and they were getting paid that 27 to $30 per hour, whereas the temporary workers are getting paid at $12.5 per hour, which is very low. And also they don't care about the safety or the safety of the employees and the working conditions as well. So here, this is a clear ethical issue that the management doesn't care about the temporary workers and they don't compensate them as well. So it violates the principles of fairness and respect for individuals. In the Employment and Social Development Canada website, it clearly stated that uh, uh, pay temporary foreign workers for all work, including overtime where required by law, and provide workplace safety insurance and offer temporary foreign workers the same benefits as other workers. So it is clearly stated, even though this is for temporary foreign workers, it applies for the temporary workers in the country as well. So here it's a clear violation. It's a legal violation as well as ethical violation because it violates the fairness and respect for individuals as well because they didn't even provide a safe working condition for people who are working there. Now moving on to the second ethical issue, which is the conflict of interest. That means the top management or the president is trying to win over his personal gain over his duties. Like the president Michael Smith, he owned the just-in-time labor frame and started providing temporary workers to APC as the last JIT provider stopped providing employees because of the safety concern. Because the last company was not providing any more employees, the president of the APC company started his own JIT company to provide employees, and he didn't even care about the safety issues. So this is an ethical issue which prioritizes personal profit over company and employee welfare. So he clearly wanted he prioritized personal profit and he didn't even care about the employees, their welfare or their safety because the last company stopped giving the employees because of the safety concern. So this is a clear violation of employee welfare. And it's in the chapter 4, page 124 of the chapter 4 of the Managing Business Ethics 7th edition book states that a conflict of interest occurs when a person's judgment or objectivity is compromised, typically because of financial or other gain for the person making a decision for a close relative or friend. So this is clearly what has happened here because he is only aiming for his financial gain and so it's clearly an ethical issue. Now, the third ethical issue is that the lack of adequate safety measures. So there is no safety measures like the machines are not properly covered and the PPEs are and there are no proper PPEs available and even though if it's available they are not reinforcing it so employees are not wearing proper PPEs welding vests and also the safety glasses as well as hearing protection. All this leading to high rate of workplace injuries. So the ethical issues here is the negligence of safety and lack of care for employee well-being by the management. So this is another ethical issue. Now moving on to the fourth ethical issue, which is the deceptive employment practices. So supervisors does not ensure adequate training for employees. They blame on not having adequate time due to increased production because recently their business increased, the production increased. The supervisors are telling that they are not getting enough time to train the employees, so they are only getting up to only 15 to 20 minutes of training, which is clearly an ethical issue which violates the principle of honesty and responsibility because it is the responsibility of a supervisor to make sure that the employee is perfectly trained on the equipment that is working on. So next one is privacy violation, which is unconsented urine test for medical and toxicological tests. This is clearly a privacy invasion and an ethical issue. So in the Canadian Human Rights Act, Canadian Civil Liberties Association versus Toronto Dominion Bank 1994 is mentioned that mandatory urine analysis represents a major invasion of privacy in the employment field, such a method could be considered reasonably necessary only if the face of substantial evidence of serious threat to employees, bank customers, and or public in general. So here, uh, um, even though there is a threat of like drug dealing and the night shift, they even instead of taking action against that, they are collecting urine samples, and without any consent they are testing it. So this is clearly a privacy invasion and violation. Now, moving on to the sixth one, which is the coercion of employees. The married employees are required to purchase a company-approved life insurance, which is very unfair and coercive practice. Under the Section 50 of OSHA, it's mentioned that workers are protected from reprisal, which means the employer is not allowed to fire or threaten to fire or suspend or discipline or threaten to do so, and or intimidate or coerce you, including, for example, bullying or you strong encouraging or not to report. So it's clearly state that the employers cannot coerce an employee to do something or not to do something as well. The second one is the alternative course of action for David. So what can David do? What are the alternative courses of action that can be done? First one is he could have reported the these issues to the regulatory, the ethical and legal issues to the regulatory authorities. The pros of it is that it is an ethical responsibility of David, and it ensures legal compliance and safety improvements, and it also protects the workers from future mishaps and hazards as well. So that will reporting to the regulatory authorities will help in avoiding all these future mishaps. And but the cons to this is that it may lead to company fines, because company already in the last WSIB audit, company got a fine of 250,000. So it will even lead to more fines, legal issues with the company, or even company get closed because of these continuous violations. And also or the company can even retaliate or take revenge against David as well for reporting it to the company to the authorities. The second alternative course will be implementing internal safety reforms and training programs. As a chief operating officer, he can do that. He can implement internal safety reforms and training programs. He can direct the improvement in employee welfare, improve safety, compliance, which all will show his ethical leadership abilities. Um, this can be done, but the problem with this is gone with this is that it requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of resources, and mostly it requires support from the management, which he is not getting. Now, the third uh, alternative course is internal whistleblowing. If it's not working, what he could do is that he could blow internally whistleblow, address the issues internally, and it has the potential for quick resolution of issues and safety hazards. But a risk with this is that there is a risk of being or of him being ignored or retaliated, because even if he is bringing up the issues to the uh, management through whistleblowing, they can in turn put the blame on himself because he is the chief operating officer, and they can blame him for those actions, those mishaps and problems that's faced by APC. The next one is that if internal whistleblowing is not working, what he could do is that he could resign and whistleblow from outside, and this will expose unethical practices to the entire world, or that unethical practice done by APC to the entire world, and it will uphold his personal integrity as well. But the problem with this is that he's risking his career for this, and he's losing income, because until he find a new job, he's not having income. And also it's very difficult for a external whistleblower to get a new job in like in the current community as well, like because we doesn't support the whistleblowers these days, and we know what happened uh, with the whistleblowers of Boeing. They have got killed, both of them got killed in mysterious conditions, or so that can happen as well. So now, the other course of action is engage in dialogue with management or the board of directors. This can lead to safety improvements while maintaining his job security, because he's directly talking with the board of directors or the president. But the thing is that he's already not able to schedule meeting with his president due to busy schedules. So that's one issue. And also the other main issue is that there is a risk of him being the troublemaker, because the management will see him as a troublemaker because he's always bringing up with issues. So that's another problem. Now moving on to the Third question, third problem, which is underlying business and organizational causes. So there are several business and organizational causes for this whole ethical and legal issues. So first one is the profit maximization and cost cutting measures. Here, the APC clearly emphasizes on cutting on cost and increasing profits, leading to unsafe practices. They have fired all the full-time employees and the union workers, and they started hiring part-time employees. It's because so that they can exploit the temporary workers by paying under minimum wage and not giving any kind of benefits. Because full-time employees, union workers getting paid 27 to $30, whereas the temporary workers are only getting paid $12.5 per hour, which is the minimum wage, and also they are not getting paid in any benefits other than the statutory benefits, which is also paid by their payroll team, which is the agency, which is also controlled by the owner, and also they are only incentivized based on the amount of work they do, which pushes them to do work and also pushes them to do the work without even considering safety protocols as well, because they have to even to achieve that bonus, they'll have to work more, and there should be more output there, so they will not even consider any safety issues as well. So this is a first issue, and also the management focused on profits over safety and ethics. So this is the thing leading to compromised working conditions, because management was only focusing on profit maximization, and they never even cared about the employee safety or welfare or even the working conditions. The second underlying business issue is the lack of ethical leadership. So we can clearly see that the owner or APC owner itself created his own just-in-time labor corporation, and created unethical business practice uh, by compromising safety standards without caring for employees, because he was didn't even care about the safety of the employees. He just wanted employees to work and produce maximum output without even caring for their welfare, their safety, or anything. So there was a clear lack of ethical leadership there. Only the motive was money. Third one is the lack of regulatory oversight. So switching to smaller auditing firm from a larger auditing firm reduce their financial oversight and accountability, as well as it contributed companies non-compliance with safety regulations and employment discrimination laws. So when they fired the major Canadian regulatory firm and hired a local firm, clearly like reduce the financial oversight, it reduce the accountability, and also it because then and it also contributed to the non-compliance with safety regulations and all the safety protocols, and also because of lack of their oversight, there was a lot of discrimination happening, especially in the process of hiring, and they didn't even care about it. Now the fourth one is inadequate training programs. So there is an insufficient investment in employee training, and the management doesn't even care about training the employment. There is a disregard of safety protocols by the management and supervisors, leading to frequent accidents and safety violations. So employees are not getting trained, and also they are not enforcing the safety protocols, and employees are not even wearing the proper hearing aids or PPEs, all these things, and supervisors are not even not training the employees on how to work safely or how to operate their machine safely as well. So um, there is a lack of time, and also there is lack of inadequate training programs, because in the APC safety manual, it's clearly mentioned that there should be general training during the employee when the employee is hired, and there should be also a refresher training every monthly, and MSDS training as well. But all these are not done, uh, clearly not done. So there is a inadequacy in training programs. The fifth one is poor management communication. So there is a lack of effective communication between David and upper management, which hinders him from addressing critical issues promptly to the higher managements. Because the president of the company is not even like he's trying to schedule a meeting with the president of the company, but he is not able to do that because of the busy schedule of the president. Now moving on to the preventative business and organizational measures. So what so how can these things be prevented in future? So what can be done to uh, prevent the ethical and the safety and legal issues at APC in the future? So first thing that can be done is strengthening their training programs. As at implementing comprehensive training programs for our employees, meeting the WSIB recommendations. That means all the employees must be trained at least from at least 8 hours up to 2 weeks, depending on their duty and the equipment that they are working on. Now, as of now, the supervisors doesn't have any time to train the employees, and also employees are working without any training and without any safety oversight. So this should be ended by implementing proper training programs, and there should also be a general safety training when an employee is hired upon hire, and also a proper MSDS and chemical hazard training, which is very important because the company will be dealing with a lot of chemicals and material hazardous materials, and the training on all the hazardous material classes and how to handle these materials and the PPE to use while handling all these materials chemicals. It's very mandatory, and if that should be done. And also this is not a one time this should not be a one time training program. There should be a monthly refresher training program every month recurring. The second one is improving the safety standards. So regularly update the and strictly enforce the safety protocols and procedures to comply with OSHA and WSIB regulations. So they should regularly uh, update, and also the management should be very strict in enforcing the safety protocols and procedures that is given in the OSHA and WSIB regulations. They should guard all the moving equipments and machineries. There should not be any unguard moving equipment, machinery, or conveyor belt in the production facility. And you also implement adequate protection devices, uh, fall protection devices. And there should be if an employee must be working at a height, there should be there should be adequate fall protection devices that should be available there, and the employee must be trained on that as well before doing the work at heights to use the fall protection devices. And company must also anchor all the loose machineries, also label all the containers correctly, because containers can be used to fill chemicals, carry chemicals, water, anything. So if there is a container left without supervision and without any label, it's very difficult to identify what kind of liquid is that in the container, or what kind of thing is that in the container, which if it's a chemical, and if somebody handles it without caution, because it's not labeled, it can uh, lead to uh, uh, injuries or something, mishaps as well. Also, they should enforce proper use of PPEs, like welding masks, goggles, hearing protection, everything as well. There should be enforcement as well, like the supervisors and the management should make sure that all the employees are using the hearing aids and PPEs properly. And then disciplinary action must be taken against employees or people who doesn't follow the safe working practices and safety regulations. Uh, the next one is establishing clear ethical guidelines. Develop fair and non-discriminatory hiring policies, ensuring equal opportunity for all candidates, regardless of their origin, race, citizenship, or marital status. So right now, they doesn't employ people from Quebec or non-Canadian citizens. So this should be stopped, and there should be fair and non-discriminatory hiring policies. And they should also enforce a corporate ethics policy to prevent conflicts of interest, that to ensure fair treatment of workers, including adequate pay, benefits for all temporary workers, and also unionization of workers. So the doing this uh, will establish a clear ethical guidelines, and it will also improve the workplace safety as well as fairness at workplace. The next one is creating an open communication culture. The management should foster a culture where employees can freely report safety concerns and suggest improvements without any fear of retaliation, or without any freedom, without any fear of management or other employees being accusing them. Uh, this will also allow employees to whistleblow those who stage accidents and conduct drug raids on the night shifts. So this will also, because all, even though some employees are doing this, all the employees are not might not be a part of it. So if they foster a culture where employees can freely report or freely talk to the management about any concerns, it can also help in whistleblowing the people who stage these accidents or conduct drug raids during night shifts. The last one is strengthening internal audits and controls. They should hire back the reputable auditing firm to ensure financial transparency, integrity, and conduct internal audits regularly to identify and rectify operational, ethical, as well as legal issues. So, strengthening the internal audits and controls by hiring a new reputable, or the even the bringing back the old reputable agency would identify and rectify any kind of operational, ethical, and legal issues that will help them to better in the future. So that's all with the assignment, second assignment. So these are all the references that I've taken, mostly from Canadian government website and Ontario website, and also some publications as well, and also from the textbook. Thank you.